two-time Arnold Classic champion, the one and only Branch Warren. What's happening, Branch? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you. I said, I've only started my podcast about a year and a half ago, and it's been doing really well. And I made the decision to make it an interview show for whatever reason. And I said, no, I'm gonna sooner or later, I'm gonna get him. Sooner or later, I'm getting him. So I really appreciate it. And you probably don't remember because you signed 1 million autographs, but in 2012, I had the privilege of meeting you and getting your autograph. So there you go.
Where was that at?
That was at a show upstate New York. I don't remember the name of the show. It was in 2012. I don't remember, but you can't see behind me, but I have autograph Evander Holyfield gloves. I have a picture of Muhammad Ali, a bunch of baseball players. That's all my trophies. I have Smoking Joe Frazier somewhere. And so you're in the autograph mixture too.
Good company to be in.
Yeah, really. Evander Holyfield, Ali, Joe Frazier, not bad, right? So right off the bat, I want to ask you this one question. You became this like fan favorite. You became like the people's champion. I would say probably starting around the late 2000s, like 2007, 2008, give or take. Like when you really started to break the tie fight, but you didn't have this tremendous like personality where you lit up the room or anything like that. Or you weren't, when I met you, you were a very one word, short answer kind of guy. But yet you had this tremendous fanfare. You always had the longest lines at the expos and so on and so forth. Why do you think that is?
I think I just related more to the common bodybuilder. You know what I mean? I had great, I put a lot of muscle on and, had a diet and I know I could train hard, but my philosophy was don't let nobody outwork me ever. So I took what God gave me and I made the most of it. And I beat a lot of guys. I beat everybody in the world at one time or another. Including all the Mr. Olympias, one time or the other. And that's just because I just worked hard. And I think people, I was always the underdog. And people always write me off every time I got injured or every time, every show I went to. And I very rarely got picked as a favorite to win. And I think because of that, I think the average competitor out there and fan out there could relate, because average person busts their ass every week just to pay their bills. The same thing in the gym. I didn't let nobody outwork me. And if I could beat them in the gym, I could beat them on the stage eventually.
Do you think, because my theory is it's very true. You're relatable because you were a hard worker and you're a blue collar guy and you didn't come up easy. So it's very, very relatable. When Dorian Yates came out with, what was it?
Guts.
What was it? Blood Iron? I forgot the name of the videotape.
Yeah, Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts, right. His popularity soared through the roof because they saw how hard he worked. My opinion, and to correct me if I'm wrong and agree with me if you will, when YouTube became big and your workout videos with Johnny Jackson, people saw how hard you worked and that training intensity, that's when your popularity just blew up. Because everybody in the gym, I was going to this hardcore small gym in Jersey called Guy's Gym. This guy owned it for like 30, 40 years. And everybody watched your videos before going to the gym. Just like in the 90s when everybody would watch Dorian and go to the gym. So do you think that's any truth to that?
100%.
Okay.
I did the same thing. I watched Dorian. Back then we didn't have smartphones and YouTube and all that internet. So you watched. Had a VCR. And always remember I ordered his tape. It took a few weeks to get it. And if I'm training legs, I put the leg workout on, watch the leg workout, and legs. And the flip side of that was I was working out at the gym with Ronnie Coleman. So that was always motivating too. But see him in there. But yeah, I think once YouTube came out and all the videos we made and put up there, I think that's when our popularity really took off because I think people respect and they look up to hard work. How can you not respect somebody that goes in and gives 100% every single time they train?
Right.
And sweats and bleeds literally, and that's feel the energy. Dorian trained, you could feel it, right? Much passion and emotion he put into it. And I came up in the gym I came up in, that's how we trained. That's how we all trained. And, here, Dorian trained like that. He was a champion of the world,
right.
And so I came from that. And so seeing him train like that, I'm like, well, that's how you're supposed to do it, because that's how the guys I looked up to in my gym, that's how they trained.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know anybody.
And that gym was obviously Metro Flex Gym?
Yes.
I had the honor of interviewing Brian Dobson last week, and great interview, great guy. And he talked about the intensity that you had, and Ronnie and Johnny Jackson and Corey Matthews and some other greats that came into the gym and so on and so forth. Was that work ethic instilled when you got to that gym, or did that come from your childhood?
No, I think it came from my childhood. I grew up on a ranch in West Texas. So anybody that's ever grew up on a farm or ranch knows one thing everybody has in common is hard work. I mean, the work's never done. You never have a day where you don't have anything done to do. There's always something to do, and it's never easy. Hauling hay to building fence, to take care of horses and cattle and all the stuff, plowing fields, and all these things you had to do. It's hard work. And, you start before the sun comes up, and you don't get finished till the sun goes down usually. And that's just something I grew up doing. I don't know it. When you grow up, kids nowadays, they would be like, are you crazy? But if that's all you know, you just think everybody lives like that. So I grew up like that. So when I moved here, and working hard was what you did.
Right. Now, was your dad the same way? Did he instill that hard work in you? Did he made you get up every morning and work and help and so on and so forth?
Really hard on me. It's one of those things where, you hated him as a kid, but you get older and become a man. Thank you. I get it now.
That's right. You understand what, I always say that a weak man is a hell of a lot more dangerous than a oval masculine man as a father. My dad was, you're friends with the guy Sistanino. I don't know him very well. I had the honor of interviewing him. But we come from the same background. We're both Italian. And my father was a hardworking Italian guy, just like, his dad. I kind of get it. And God forbid you slept in on a Sunday. That wasn't happening. You were getting up and helping, Well, so now when you worked out at Metroflex, what was it like when you were around Ronnie Coleman? I mean, was there like an entourage around him, or he was like, leave me alone, I'm training?
In the early days, so I'll tell you a little story how I got started. So I moved to Fort Worth. I was in high school, 14 years old, give or take. Mm-hmm. And I met a kid in the neighborhood. Just local gym. I couldn't afford it. So I came from a school where we barely had enough guys to have a football team. It was a school where, you had to make the team. Back in those days, there was no participation trophies. You either made the team or you got cut. And, it was a much larger school. I think I had like kids in my graduating class. So big school there in, out of Fort Worth. And so he'd open up the back door. I'd slip in. We'd work out and leave. I'd leave out the back door and come in the front door, back door. So we didn't know what we're doing. We just lifted weights. So, we tried to do every exercise machine in the gym. We didn't know, work hard, let's go. And,
right.
You just put on as much weight as you could lift and lift as many times as you could lift it and go do something else. Mm-hmm. And there was a bodybuilder there, huge guy, 280, 290 pound bodybuilder. Never seen a bodybuilder before. And I was pretty impressed. I didn't know a guy could look like that. And so, we thought he was pretty cool. He was the biggest, strongest dude we'd ever seen. He had a different girlfriend every week. They were all hot. Yeah. And drove a Corvette. So we're like, that dude rocks. And so he came up to me that summer and was like, kid, he goes, you're going to hurt yourself. You don't know what you're doing. He goes, I watch you in here every day. You come in every day and train real hard, but you don't know what you're doing. He goes, show up tomorrow and I'll show you how to train right. So I did. And I think I threw up 3 times that day.
Was he a pro bodybuilder, or was he just like a local
national level bodybuilder? He won a lot of local shows. And, I think he won the junior nationals or something, but he'd been to the USA and the national. And big dude, strong. And so I think that was my first real leg workout I'd ever done. And I think I puked 3 times, but I'd go puke, do my set. And the next day was more of the same. And so he took me through that whole week. For 2 weeks, he trained me. Didn't charge me. Just took me through, showed me all the exercise in the gym, how to train hard. And then after that, he would write my workouts up. And then he rolled me up like a little – it wasn't a diet. It was just kind of eat more food, you know, because teenage, it's like, hey man, quit eating all this junk and eat this stuff. You can have some of this too, but you know, just eat better and eat more. So I gained like 20 something pounds that summer just eating and training, and made the team, started, had a great year. And that following year, I think I was 16, and I came back in the gym after football was over that summer, and he was in there, and I started working out, and he said, hey, you ever think about competing? And I'm looking at this guy going, are you nuts? You know, so I'm like, I'm not very big, right? Especially compared to this guy. And he said, man, there's a show this weekend. He goes, you know, ride up there with me, check it out. They got a junior division, and, you know, see what you think. So I went to it after the show. He said, what do you think? I said, man, I think I could do that. He goes, all right. He said, there's a show at the end of the summer. He goes, you can try football, and then the next week, football season starts. I'm like, all right, done. He said, but I'm going to take you to a real gym. I'm like, where are we at right now? He goes, man, this ain't a real gym. So he picked me up on Monday morning. We drove across town. We pulled up in front of this gym, gravel parking lot, warehouse doors open. The music's so loud you can hear it in the parking lot. And the biggest freaking dudes I'd ever seen in my life walking around. And he was competing. And
you cut out on me. I apologize. That was Metroflex Gym?
Yeah, Metroflex Gym.
Okay.
I went there, and he introduced me to Brian. He said, hey, this is that kid that I was talking about. He wants to compete and do a show. And I told Brian, I said, man, I have no money. I said, but I'll take the trash out, suit the place up, if I can train here for the summer and, you know, do the show. And he said, let me look at you. So I took my shirt off and hit the poses, showed him my leg. And he said, I'll tell you what, kid. He goes, you work out here all summer, you represent the gym at the show. When you win, you don't got to
nice.
Lose, you're going to work it off. Well, that was 29 years ago, and I still haven't bought a membership.
That's fantastic, man.
So that's how it started. Now, the side note to that story was this guy who brought me over there was Ronnie Coleman's workout partner. And so that summer, I trained my first show with this guy, Mark. His name was Mark Hanlon, Ronnie Coleman. And Ronnie wasn't pro yet. He was a cop in Arlington. And I think he turned pro maybe 2 or 3 years later. But I trained with those dudes. They kicked my ass every day.
I can imagine.
And I asked Ronnie later, man, years later, I said, hey, man, I said, why'd you let me train with you back then, man? I said, you guys were, you know, many levels above me, man. I was just a skinny teenager. And he said, man, he says, he goes, man, you outworked all the men in the gym. He said, he goes, man, we knew you'd get bigger and stronger. He goes, it just takes time.
Right. Ronnie said basically you outworked everybody in the gym, and he was happy to have you train as a training partner for that.
Yeah. He said, he goes, you outworked everybody in the gym. And he said, we knew you'd get bigger and stronger. And he goes, you did. He said, it ain't about how strong you are, how big you are. It's about how hard you work. And that's something that stuck with me forever.
I mean, to have that kind of mentor, those kind of mentors in your life, it's almost like you're destined. I mean, I got to believe that you had some decent genetics for Brian Dobson to just look at you and say, okay, yeah, don't worry, you could pay as long as you work hard.
I think genetics, I think it's how you look at it. I had good genetics. I don't think anybody turns pro without having good genetics.
Right.
When you're talking about genetics, if you're comparing yourself to the Phil Heath and the Ronnie Colemans of the world, okay, that's 1 in, 10 million, 50 million?
Right.
Right. So, yeah, it's I had good genetics. I mean, I just did I have the shape and aesthetics that some of the guys didn't know? Did I put on a ton of muscle and get really hard? Absolutely. That's how I could beat people. So I think it depends on what your definition of good genetics is. Going back to the previous question, I had to grind a little bit. So as a teenager, I competed quite a bit. I won AAU Teenage Miss America, won the NPC Teenage Nationals. Then as a teenager, I won the Mr. Texas Open show. I went to the Lila Brada. Used to have a big show down in Houston. I won the Teenage Novice and the Open at the same show. And then I went to school. So I worked 3 jobs. I didn't compete. And so it was about, I don't know, a good 4-year period there, right from 19 to 23, 24, 23 probably before I competed again. And then I went and did a Southwest USA, qualified me for the Nationals. I went to the USA and got 3rd in heavyweights. Then the following year, I went to the Nationals and won my weight class and turned pro.
Now, coming from such a blue collar background and growing up on a farm, were your parents were very supportive?
They had no idea what bodybuilding was.
Yeah,
And
my father didn't either. He thought it was ridiculous.
yeah, my father, I didn't even tell him I did that first show. I didn't even tell him. I was like, yeah, because I didn't know how it's going to go. And, I was doing it for me and for football. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go do this. And so I just went to went to the thing, got my tan on, and went and did the show and won.
Right.
And came back, had this big trophy, and they're like, what's that? I'm like, oh, I did this bodybuilding contest thing. And, he's just like, for him, it was stupid because he's like, if you're not playing football, he goes, why are you doing something like this, not making no money? And
That was, yeah, right. That was my father's attitude. Yeah.
me work out in the gym, how hard I train. He goes, how much you get paid for this? I'm like, nothing. He goes, he just shake his head. It just made no sense to him whatsoever.
Yeah.
But, my mother, she was more supportive because the side note to all this, before we moved to Fort Worth, I was a cowboy. I was going to be a bull rider. And I'm riding bulls and stuff. My mother hated it because it's not a matter of if you get hurt, it's a matter of when you get hurt.
Right.
So for her, she was pretty more supportive of it because she didn't really understand it. But I wasn't riding bulls. I wasn't doing all that stuff. And, she saw how hard I worked and the discipline I put into it. And, I wasn't going out partying and drinking and doing all these. So, for her, it's like, all right, he's doing something positive. He's working hard for it. So I don't really get it, but it's okay.
So you always had a good head on your shoulders. You never got into any trouble or get into drugs or partying or girls or booze like young guys do?
Man, I never did drugs, never got into all that partying stuff. I was so focused at such a young age on bodybuilding. And, I always had my own business. I opened my first business when I was in my early 20s. And I've always worked for myself. And I just never had time for that nonsense. Just, the girl thing, bro. I mean, girls are deadlier than COVID. So
you ain't kidding.
You know what I'm saying? So I bet half the guys locked up in prison is because of a woman. So
truth.
No, I never. So I met Trish when she was 19, I was 24, and so we didn't get married till 6 years later, maybe. But yeah, so it's I just had my nose to the grindstone working.
So now you turned pro in 2001, am I right?
Correct.
2001, and that was at the Nationals?
Yes.
Okay.
So Johnny won the last weight. I won the weights.
Yeah, he actually told me that story, and then you guys started training together after you guys won.
Yeah, we got back to town, and I said, "Hey, man, train." He looked at me and goes, "Cool." And that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago this month, actually.
What was it about him that you wanted him as your training partner? Because you guys were going hard. I would assume that you saw the same in him.
Best advice. I had a guy here, most successful guy I've ever known, gave me some advice. Gave me a lot of advice, and it's all been proven true. And the one thing he told me was, you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people. So, why go? I could kick his ass. I could beat him in the gym. I could beat him on stage. What's the point in that?
Right.
I wanted to be with somebody who was a peer who, could beat me. And because I knew that would push me to be better. And I pushed him to be better too, I think. And so that was, Johnny was successful, man. At that point, I'd never beat him. I mean, we competed against each other amateur several times, and he always came out ahead. And but I wasn't afraid of that. So I was like, I'm gonna train with this dude. I seen how strong he was in the gym, how hard he trained, and that was probably the one person, with the exception of maybe.
Johnny is he blew up on the scene quick. I remember him all over the magazines early on, and it was once you turned pro, it seemed like it took some time before you actually became recognized.
That was by design. I turned pro, and I remember we started training together, and he jumped right into the pro circuit. He jumped in, did some shows, qualified for the Olympia right off the bat. I took a year and a half, almost 2 years off. So I turned pro in 2001. I didn't compete until at least August maybe, or September of 2003. No, I take that back. I did a New York, the last night of champion show, so it would have been like May of 2003. And so I took, almost 2 years off, year and a half off to make improvements. With me, I didn't want to compete, just compete. I didn't feel I was ready. I felt I needed to bring my back up. I needed to bring my shoulders up. You know, there's things I needed to improve. And I was only 25, 26 when I turned pro.
Mm-hmm.
So and I felt that, and I got plenty of time. I can take a little time off. I can grow. I can improve, and make this. I wanted to step on stage and win. You know, I didn't want to place or not even place. So because you put so much time, so much effort, sacrifice so much to get ready for a show that if I can't be competitive and win, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to stay in the gym and keep working until I'm there. And I was brutally honest with myself, and it paid off. You know, I won my third and fourth shows. I won, and went to the Arnold, got second, and then
What was the first show that you won?
The Dallas Europa in front of my hometown.
Oh, that was a good show to win. Okay.
Other there, and Trish was there, and my whole family, basically, all my friends. So it was pretty cool. You know, me and Johnny were both in the show. I got first, he got second, and he couldn't have. It was cool, very cool, and first victory on a pro stage in front of your hometown. Yeah,
that's great. Are you kidding? You can't ask for any better than that. Now, how many pro wins do you have?
I won nine pro shows.
That's pretty damn good. But now you won 2 Arnold Classic back-to-back. And what only the hardcore fans know is that you had a terrible injury in between those. And you came back, recovered, and won in 2012 after you won in 2011. Can you discuss that?
So 2010, 2009, I got second in Olympia. 2010, I got third. It was Jay and Phil. In 2010, I was third. So I was getting ready for the Arnold in 2011, which is March of 2011, and I won that Arnold. And then getting ready for the Olympia. So I just got third at the Olympia, won the Arnold. So I'm obviously a favorite for top 3, and looking every year and better than I've ever been that far out. I think I was 30 days out, and I never traveled. When I was about 10 weeks out, I stopped traveling, doing appearances. Well, I did a favor just for a guy up in Atlanta. He had a show, and I was like, all right, man, I'll fly on Saturday morning. I'll guest pose and fly out Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I stopped at the place, and I'm walking out. It's raining. I slip off the curb, and my right quad just rips right off the bone. Like I basically off this thing, and I'm laying there in the rain. My buddy's like, yo, dude, get up. I'm like, man, I can't. And I remember I grabbed my knee, that fastest lateralis muscle, medialis muscle. It ain't there. Hold up. I'm like, this ain't good. And contrary to you would think it would be excruciating pain, but it doesn't hurt that bad. You get that initial little pop when something stabbed you, and then it doesn't really hurt much, because tendons don't have a lot of blood supply and there's not a lot of nerves in them. And, when they snap, you feel it at first, then it doesn't hurt very bad, and you just leg no more. And so he only get in the truck, and so 30 days after Olympia, that was it. There was no. And I knew my surgeon. I called him. So that was on a Saturday. Monday morning at 9 a.m. I had it reattached. Less than 48 hours probably. I had it reattached, and I'm sitting at my house in the living room, having my leg propped up, and Wednesday, 2 days post surgery, and I'm reading. Then you got forums and all this crap, and everybody. No one ever came back from a complete quad tear before. Yeah. Successful. There have been some guys come back, but they really weren't successful. And I started getting mad. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, nobody's gonna tell me when I'm done. I go, who the fuck are these people to tell me that I'm done? I'm like, I sat there and got madder and madder. I quit reading it, and I told Trish. She walked over. I go, I'm gonna do the Arnold. She goes, like in 6.5 months. I go, yeah. She went in the kitchen, cooked a big plate of chicken and rice, put it in my lap. She goes, "You better start eating."
and then it was history. And then you actually won and defied the odds, which is something common in your career.
Yeah, I mean, that deal. Sometimes the worst things that happen to you in life turn out to be blessings, and that definitely turned out to be a blessing. Being able to overcome that. It was one of the hardest things I've had to do, especially physically. Probably the hardest thing I've had to do physically. You can't walk. I got to learn how to walk again, and you got to break the motion. I mean, couldn't at first, even after you start rehabbing, you can't squat because you can't bend your knee. And it's and I just would get I was so motivated, determined. I didn't care how bad it hurt. I was like, I'm gonna make this happen, and I just made it happen. Then I need to do it, and I think the level of pain, if you're motivated enough, you'd be surprised what you can do. I'd worked so hard to get where I was at, and I thought, I was so close to my ultimate dream. I'm like, I'm not gonna let this beat me. I don't care what it takes, and so one day at a time. I told myself, one rep at a time. I'm gonna fuck her, and it worked out.
Well, you did it, that's for sure, and you shocked everybody. Now, earlier you mentioned the 2009 runner-up. It just so happened that you went up against the best Jay Cutler ever that stepped on stage. It's my opinion that if Jay didn't lose the year before, you might have won, because he might have now worked so hard to win it back, because he lost in 2008. But it was a fantastic showing by you. It just, you kind of ran into an amazing Jay Cutler. What was it like coming second to that?
So Jay was at his lightest body weight ever at the Olympia, which consequently was his best condition ever. I think that's the best we ever saw Jay.
Yeah.
Because he was hungry. He got beat the year before by Dexter. Dexter was a reigning champ. Jay wanted that title back. So he did what he had to do. Head judge, Steve, he told us, he told Jay, he looked at him, he said, bro, if you'd have been anything but your best ever, Brand would be Mr. And I think I took Jay back for a minute, because he's thinking, I won this easy. And he's like, nah, bro, if you hadn't been at your best ever, then rap. But that is what it is, man. It was they made the right decision. I have no I gave it everything I had, and I got no regrets. And as far as what's it like to get second? Bro, second place in Olympia is the worst fucking place in all of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I mean that. It is. It sucks. I went back to my room, and I didn't know whether to try or freaking punch on the wall.
Yeah.
You're just like, you're so close to the ultimate prize. And I'm going to tell you, any person who's ever thought about bodybuilding, whoever competed, whoever goes to the gym, they've dreamed about being Mr. Olympia, right? So sure. You're on that stage, and you beat everybody on the planet, right? That you and one other person, right? That is close, man, from being the champion of the world.
Yeah.
All the other guys' name first, and you're just like, like I said, I don't know whether to try or to freaking punch something.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. I'd rather got third place, honestly, than second.
Yeah, well, now you know how Kai Green feels, Sean Ray, Kevin Levrone. The list goes down to all the great number 2 guys. But yeah, if that one person didn't exist, you would be world champion. That's
all-time best. I mean, it probably would have been a different story. But it is what it is. You can say could have, would have, should have. But at the end of the day, you think about it, and you think about it, and you think about it, and you say, okay, what could I have done different? And I did everything best I'd ever been. So I think I equaled that condition in 2011 at the Arnold, but I don't think I ever surpassed that condition. So, man, I have no regrets, man. They at the top, did it. I'd be like, nah, I should have won, because that's just mentality you have to have. But looking back on it, man, they got it right. I mean, Jay looked great.
Jay, that was the greatest Jay ever. I mean, you could put him up against any Mr. Olympia. He was amazing in that one. It was just like, like you said, he was coming back to win. He got hurt. Yeah. Is it okay if I ask you about Generation Iron? If you don't want to talk about it, I can edit it. Okay. So Generation Iron comes out, and from what I understand, they kind of did you dirty a little bit. They told you we're going to edit a part out, and they didn't. Is that accurate?
100%. So I'm assuming you're talking about the horse scene,
right?
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, they want to get a scene on me on my horses, right? So I've got a ranch there with my house and everything. And so I said, yeah. So I went to start on my horse and catch my horse. I couldn't even catch him. He was freaked out with there's about 13, 14 guys in this crew, and all the cameras and the boom mics and everything, and he was not digging all that. So I made everybody leave, and I said, I'm gonna calm down, and I caught him, and then I saddled him and walked him around for a little bit, and I got on him and rode him around in the back for a minute, and he just was not, I knew he wasn't digging all this stuff too much, So we rode out front of the house by the pond there, and he started getting little jumpy on me again. And I was like, all right, all you guys get away. I said, the producer and the cameraman, that's it. Everybody else, you got to go. And they had one of those big mic things that has the fuzzy.
The boom mic.
Yeah, boom mic, whatever you call it. And he didn't like that thing. He thought that was some kind of, I don't know what he thought it was, but he didn't like it. And so we're there, and they're asking me questions, whatever it was. And we're walking off, and that guy came up behind us with that mic, and we're going to have a little rodeo. And, I stayed on him, and we were walking across the thing there, and he was still jumping a little bit, and he freaking bucked a little bit, and I went off. And the worst part was on the pavement. Kind of been on the pavement, it wouldn't have been near as bad. I mean, it wasn't the first time I've been thrown. It wasn't the last time I've been thrown. Anybody who rides horses will tell you that. And, I landed, cracked my head on the concrete, and pulled my, and so afterwards, it affected my training because I couldn't, I missed training. I was like 5 weeks out from Olympia maybe, and Rowan was pulled so bad. And I told Vlad, the producer, I said, hey, man, I appreciate it if you wouldn't put that in there since you guys are a horse, not do what you. And I said, I won't do it. And I asked him twice, and he promised me he wouldn't do it. Well, then I go to the premiere in New York, and he sends someone else over who's not even part of his crew to tell me, they put that scene in there. And I said, where's he at? He wouldn't speak to me about it. And so I don't appreciate, man, anybody knows me will tell you that I'm a man of my word, and he's not. And so I just, not cool.
Yeah,
it's like
Generation Iron is getting some reputation. You are not the first bodybuilder that has told me that they have had some bad run-ins with Generation Iron. And I'm talking elite level. I don't want to mention names, but elite level bodybuilders that say, I will never do Generation Iron interview again.
And if you'll notice, that's the only time I'm done with them. And they try to portray our sport in a negative light after that movie. I mean, even that movie, I didn't like how they portrayed Dennis. I didn't like how they portrayed Bill. I thought Kai is probably the one guy that they portrayed really well in the whole thing. But I just wasn't happy with the whole thing. The horse thing really wasn't cool. Believe it or not, I can't ride. So actually getting ready to ride in a cutting horse competition here soon.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's I'm done with those guys. I don't know much what else I have to say about it.
Yeah, no, you don't have to say anything else, and you are not the first person that told me that, and I'm sure you're not going to be the last. So fast forward, 2015, you decide you're going to retire. I mean, you had a pretty good showing at the Olympia that year. Would you come in 5th or 6th? I don't really remember.
Which year was it?
2015, when you decided to retire?
5th or 6th. I can't remember.
So what was it? Was it the fact that you just were like, I'm not breaking the top 3 and I'm done, or you just felt it inside?
Well, at the Olympia that year, I had made the decision. So fast forward about a few months, and I did the Arnold 2016, and I got 5th at the Arnold, and I got 2nd at the Arnold the year before. Arguably could have won. I still think that 2015 Arnold, I could have had that one.
Like Dexter won that one, right?
Yeah, and
they might have given him because he broke the record, didn't he, for Arnold Classic wins?
I don't know if it was that one, or did he win another one after that? I think.
Oh, maybe you're right. Oh, yeah.
But I still think I could have won that one, but that's whatever. It's in the past. But so the next year, 2016, I was getting ready for that show, and it's just I turned 41 like 3 days before that show, and I was competing way longer than I ever dreamed I would. And I was doing everything the same, training, eating, and my body just wasn't the same. And I stepped on stage, and I got 5th. Some of the young guys slipped past me, and I always told myself, if these young guys start beating me, it's a wrap. And I stayed up for 10 years maybe, and 12 years, and I just knew. I didn't know going into the show that was going to be my last show, but I made a decision that night. We went back to the room, and I told my wife, I said, "This is it." She goes, "You're sure?" I go, 100%.
Yeah. Well, being an elite sports athlete, it's a cycle. You come up, it's the grind. You start knocking guys out, the older guys, you're on top for a while, and then the young guys coming up. I mean, we see it now, right? We see it, right? You know, Rolly is kind of on his way out, and you know, and these young guys like Nick Walker and Labrada, they're coming up and they're kind of beating these guys that have been around for a long time, and it's just a total cycle. But if you're an elite athlete like you or Johnny or whomever, you always got that fight in you, you know. And I think a lot of people don't understand that mentality. It's you know, it's like that's who you are as a person, you know. I mean, I have Evander Holyfield's boxing gloves behind me, and he started fighting at 8 years old. 8 years old, he was in the gym, and it's, you know, and I mean, he fought like a couple of months ago and he got knocked out. I mean, it's sad, but he just can't give it up, you know? Anyway, so my brother Dominic, and this is one of the, like more of a selfish question. My brother Dominic is a big hunter, but he hunts for some reason. He loves to hunt bird, ducks, pheasant, turkey. I don't know what it is about birds. He says it's challenging to him. I have no idea. You know, I'm not much into it, but I should go. I was watching Fuad's podcast, and Guy was describing, I believe it was a specific type of boar hunt you guys do, and it's without rifles. Am I accurate?
Right.
Can you describe that? I actually really want to send this to my brother and have him watch it because he would love it.
So, man, I've been doing this since I was a kid. So, you know, we have a ton of these wild boars in Texas. I don't know, several million of them, and they're not native animals. They were introduced here way back when, and so they've just proliferated all over the state, all over the South, actually. I think most, and I think they're good. I don't know how many states have them now, but they're a nuisance. So they destroy crops and farmers. You know, it's cost farmers a lot of money. So anyway, I've been hunting since I was a kid. So we hunt them with dogs. So you have these bay dogs, you know, like hound dogs, blackmouth curs, catahoulas, things like that, and they track these things down. And it's a very physical hunt because you gotta walk and keep the dogs so you can at least hear them. You know, back in those days, now we have GPS, so it makes it a little bit easier to track the dogs. But they get on them, and they get one bait up, and then you have a bulldog or a pit bull with you. You put a Kevlar vest on him and a cut collar because those boars have those big long tusks. You know, they're deadly. And they get one bait up, and you get in there and you turn the bulldog loose. He catches it, and then you go in, you grab it, and you stick it with a knife.
And those pit bulls have no fear. They just go grind. Do they?
People that like, you have a 100-pound pit bull, right?
Yeah.
So you have no idea. I guarantee you what that dog is capable of.
It's a house dog.
Pit bulls, and they're sweet and loving and all this stuff. And I'm just looking at them. I'm like, you have no idea what you have. So when they're natural element. You know, they were bred to hunt. You know, and be protection dogs and to hunt, and they love it. I mean, as soon as I would pull out their vest, they just start going nuts, man. And they don't know quit. So you kind of form a special bond with the bulldogs and the pit bulls because they just don't know quit. They won't quit. So
right.
Turn them loose. There's two outcomes: the hog dies or they die.
Wow.
And, you know, that's why we put all the protective gear on them, protect them so they don't get hurt. And they just won't quit. I mean, that's what makes them so awesome because they just stuff that are in. And I've never seen one give up. They just don't give up.
So the dog grabs the boar, I'm assuming probably by the neck most of the time, right?
Now we try to train them to do it by the ear. They get them by the ear, and then by the ear, and they keep their body up against the boar's body. They're safe. He can't get them.
Okay.
So you got an 80-pound pit bull hanging off your ear. You ain't running away.
Oh, you ain't going nowhere. So the boar's got him by the ear, and you obviously have to find, or you already know where the boar is, and then where exactly do you stab him? What kind of knife do you use?
I just use usually about a 10, 12-inch knife, and you just stab them behind the front leg, down low, where the heart lungs are, and it's over probably quicker than a gunshot, actually.
Really?
But, it's not a very quick, very you ever hear this term bleeding like a stuck pig? Well, when you hit the money, and it's over just like that.
Okay. So it is more humane than you think.
Yeah, it is. And people got issues with hunting or whatever. That's fine, but when you go to get a nice steak or a burger or chicken or fish,
that's right.
I promise you, the way we hunt is much more humane than how they get killed in a slaughterhouse.
Oh, absolutely. Now,
and I have no problem with hunting as long as you eat the meat. I mean,
yeah, as long as you put it to use. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Now, when you stab the pig and the pit bull has got the boar, do you have problems getting the pit bull to release him, or is he so entwined that he won't he won't release.
Let go. So you usually have to take a break stick and put it in his mouth to make him let go. Or I'll see sometimes once the pig's dead, I just cut his ear off and or whatever they do.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. All right, that's good. And there's also another way you could do it. I believe you can get on a chopper or something like that. Is that accurate? Shoot him from a chopper?
Yeah, this is Texas, bro. So we can do all kinds of cool stuff. So, they got helicopter hog hunting, so you can fly a helicopter and shoot them out of the helicopter. So that's if you've never done it, it's worth it. It'll be the best money you ever spend.
I'm telling you, I'm sending this clip because I'm going to make a short clip of this and put it up. I'm sending it to my brother, and as soon as he hears this, he's going to want to do it because he loves hunting. He doesn't every weekend. He's somewhere hunting.
So I took a guy here early in the year, I guess it was, and didn't want to go for years, and so finally we made it happen. We got out there, and I said, man, just follow me, keep your light off, and I said, whoever gets there first, probably me or my buddy Chad. We're gonna get about a back leg. He's always gonna have about a ear, and I said we're gonna stretch him out, get him off his feet, and stab him low behind the front leg, and it'll be over real quick. You ain't gotta slides in like butter. You ain't gotta go psycho and all this nonsense. And all right, so we got in there, got it killed, and the guy was he was so excited. He's like, bro, he goes, deer hunting's cool and all that, but fuck that, I do this shit every fucking day. Life. And so it was pretty cool. He had most importantly, he had a blast, and
that's cool. That's really cool. So now we're coming to the end of the interview. So tell me about Wicked Cutz and what led to the birth of Wicked Cutz Jerky and how well it's doing.
Well, it's been 4 years ago. So my partner in Wicked Cutz is Scott James. He was the owner and the founder of BSN back in the day. Okay, so he started BSN back in South Florida way back when, and he sold it, and he lives here in Texas now. And we were on a flight, and he said, "Hey," he goes, "we were talking." So we actually sat next to each other on the flight. I think going to the Olympia one year after he sold BSN, and he said, "You retired now?" I said, "Yeah." And we got talking. He goes, "I always want to partner with you and do something, work with you." I've got we get back home. We'll talk about it. So we got back, we talked, and he said, "Let's do beef jerky." And I'm thinking, beef jerky? And he started talking to me, and he said, "Think about it." He goes, "Sports supplements, we got this little piece of the population, that you're selling to." He goes, "The jerky, it's everybody." And he goes, "You get the beef jerky in a hardware store, grocery store, convenience store, anything. Doctor's office, weight loss centers. We sell jerky everywhere."
Right.
And so the more we talked about it, I was like, all right, let's do this. So we went to work, challenge. I like beef jerky, but I don't know a whole lot about it. So I had to educate myself, still educating myself. And it's growing. We started off with 7 flavors of jerky. Now we have 15 flavors of jerky. We got beef jerky, chicken jerky, turkey jerky, and bacon jerky. We have 6 beef sticks with high protein in them, 15 and we got some more really cool stuff coming out the first quarter of 2020. So we're in 4,000, and we got to have a great direct-to-consumer business.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, what if you want to order some Wicked Cutz? Is there a website you can go to?
Go to www.wickedcutz.com.
I'm going to make sure that it's in the description for whomever is going to, watch it, and they could easily click it and order some. And do you have? Cutz. It's WICKEDCUTZ.com, right?
That's it.
Do you have any other business dealings going on, or that's your priority?
Well, I've got 3 fitness expos I promote. Got the Branch One Classic down in Houston. This will be our 15th year to promote it. So it's a really big show. This last year, we didn't know how it was going to go because 2020 was a disaster with COVID and all the shut things. So we ran out to Houston Convention Center, the Energy Center by the stadium. So we have about 200,000 square feet. We rent out, and we had 2,200 athletes in all the different events, between the NPC bodybuilding show, jiu-jitsu, CrossFit, strongman, arm wrestling. We got something for everybody. And I kind of modeled it after the Arnold, because I realized not everybody wants to be a 250-pound bodybuilder or be a bikini competitor. So I just want to have a platform where We have multiple events, and people can go and compete whatever their chosen sport is and have a good time. It's an all-day deal, and kicks off at like 8 o'clock in the morning and goes until NPC show's over around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So
fantastic.
That, and we do the same thing in Fort Worth, the newer show. Then this year we're going to have the Branchmore Classic in Denver, Colorado, May 7th. So we're taking our concept from Houston and just Colorado. That's
tremendous. And so you're really not retired. You're just basically working somewhere else.
Yeah, I got busy. When I always tell people I retired and got busy.
Yeah.
So I'm with Gas still. Gas and Better Bodies. I've been with those guys since 2008, and I'll play a bigger role now with them than ever. Michael always told me, he goes, "When you retire, you'll be more valuable to me than when you're an athlete." I used to look at him like he's crazy.
Yeah.
But work me in. I'm very much more. I'm more involved with them now than I ever have been. So I do a lot of stuff with them, and then of course these guys, Apollo Nutrition, Jersey, with those guys. So they brought me on. I wasn't even looking for a supplement sponsor and all that. I talked to Rob, the owner, and we hit it off. And they're a hardcore little niche brand, really good products, and so we worked it out. And I've been representing those guys now for about a year. And I've got my own Hooligan, the Branch One edition, pre-workout. So that's doing really well, and so I stay pretty busy with all that stuff. Also, Atomic Shoes, represent them, and so I'm still, like I said, I've got a lot of irons in the fire.
You're a money making machine. That's good, man. That's great. Listen, Branch, I can't thank you enough for doing this, dude. You were a big inspiration for me as far as my work ethic and bodybuilding and whatever it is that I want to jump into. I used to watch your videos. It was fantastic. And I'm sure you've inspired millions of people all over the world, not just me, and not even just bodybuilders. There are plenty of people that you inspired. And you're just a great human being, all around great human being. And I really appreciate you doing this for me, man.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks for having me on the show. Wish you much success.
Thank you very much. And have a good night. We'll definitely be in touch.
Sounds good.